All right, are we ready to get to it? I'm ready to do it. And our word for today on this Wednesday of the 6th week of Easter, this Wednesday, May the 8th, our word for today is truth. Truth is our word for today, and here to talk about it is our cleanup batter. It's the one, the only Deacon Dan Brahier. Good morning, Deacon Dan. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on our word for today.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Ron. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah. Thanks to you as well.
It is so nice to see a nice, beautiful, sunny morning.
Amen.
The dew on the grass, but it's also reminding me that grass is growing as I'm watching it, so it means I'm going to have to be cutting it soon. But
right.
There's the reality, So
I just got AstroTurf. Just decided against the whole thing. Just did the AstroTurf.
That's the way to do it right there. Our word for the day is truth. And when I saw that word, I was thinking about when I was a kid, I always enjoyed watching the Three Stooges. Who didn't?
Yep.
And there was an episode of the Three Stooges where they are appearing in a courtroom. I don't know if you remember this, when Curly goes up to testify, and the bailiff holds out the Bible, and Curly puts his hand on it, and he says, "Do you swear to tell the whole truth?" And Curly says, "I never swear, but I know all the voids."
That's good.
And the cute thing about that scene is that he's so caught up in the whole idea of swearing that he kind of missed the whole point of what the truth is, But he's not the first one. If we go back to the trial of Jesus, Pontius Pilate missed the point too. Pilate struggled with that question. Jesus says, "I came to testify to the truth." And by the way, testify, I always find this fascinating, that word is the English translation of the Greek word martyr. And so Jesus is essentially saying, "I came to be martyred for the truth." But Pilate responds to him and says, "What is truth?" And Pilate's error there, his error in thinking, is that he's focusing on the what, as if truth is a thing with a definition rather than it being a personal characteristic. So I'm going to take a little bit of a different spin on this word truth maybe than we often think about, because we remember that Jesus told us that he is the way, the truth, and the life. So he is the truth that personifies it. It's not just a thing with a definition. It's actually a person. So if you go back to the Old English root of the word truth, it meant and means faithfulness and constancy. And so it's kind of a throwback to, in the Old Testament, there's a Hebrew word, emet, E-M-E-T, is the English spelling. It appears 127 times in the Old Testament. And the word emet means certainty, faithfulness, reliability, and dependability, all of which are words that describe God. So, for example, Psalm 25, verse 10 says, "All of the paths of the Lord are mercy and truth." So it means God is merciful, but that God is also emet, which means he is faithful. He is constant in our lives. The same thing happens in the first book of Samuel, chapter 12. It says, "Serve God in truth with all your heart." But our current translation that we use today also says, "Serve him faithfully with all your heart." So we notice there how the word faithfully and the word truth are interchangeable. So when Jesus says that he is the truth, he means that he is faithful, that he is dependable, that we can rely on him. And so it's kind of like we automatically go to the idea that truth is the opposite of false, or the opposite of a lie. But it does, but it's kind of a little bit different in the context of the Old Testament. So when Jesus says today in the gospel that the Holy Spirit will guide you to all truth, he's picking up on that Old Testament meaning and telling us the Spirit will be faithful to us. The Spirit will be reliable for us for all time. And that's consistent with the Catholic Catechism, because paragraph 788 says that Jesus will not leave us orphaned. And it says he promised to remain with his disciples until the end of time. He sent them his Spirit. So this truth is timeless. It's reliable. It's faithful. And we see that in the first reading today. What a beautiful reading that is, of St. Paul teaching the Athenians. And Dave, I enjoyed your reflection on that. He describes God as the maker of the world, as the Lord of heaven and earth, the one who gives life and breath to everything. And Paul says that we are offspring of God. So he is essentially teaching how God is truth, that he is the constant force in our lives, that he is faithful, that he is fully reliable. I was thinking about that even when you if you think of somebody that makes a heart, and puts Dan and Ann, true love.
Yeah.
What does true mean with true love? It doesn't mean the opposite of false. It means fidelity, faithfulness, forever. God is faithful to us forever. He will always be there for us. And I think that among other things, that's why we can never give up hope that God is going to be there for us. Even in our darkest hour, when God can appear to be absent in our lives, and we've all had that space, that void in our lives, where we look at it and say, where is God? What is going on here? But we can be assured that God is there. He will remain faithful to his word, and through his Holy Spirit, he is always in our midst, because God is truth itself. And so I always find that kind of fascinating, how the Bible does that, how Jesus will personify. He is wisdom in the flesh. He is truth in the flesh. He is life in the flesh. And so there's that narrow view of what truth means is the opposite of being something that is untrue, something that is a lie. And that is absolutely a part of the definition. But today I want us to reflect a little bit on this idea of God as being reliable and faithful in our lives.
Love it. There's
Love
only
it.
one truth, right?
Thank you, Deacon Dan. Talk about reliable and faithful. He's our cleanup batter on Wednesdays. Thank you, Deacon Dan Brahier.
And thanks
You're
for
welcome.
joining
Have
us.
a great week.
You too.